So guys, it is that time of the year again. We're gonna be talking about what is in my wallet to give me maximum value. And spoiler alert, it's this guy right here, an unused $5 Starbucks card. I like to do one of these videos every now and then just so I can give you guys an idea of what I'm using on a daily basis to get maximum value from my natural spending habits. And if you guys have seen my video from last year, not too much has changed in terms of my overall setup and my belief. And to cut right to the chase, I'm not necessarily on team travel or team cashback. I like to get a little bit of a mix of both. Call it team hybrid. And one of the things that I do value the absolute most out of anything being on team hybrid is flexible points currencies. And we'll see how that reflects based on the specific cards that I have in my wallet when I talk about them later on in this video. Now, without any further ado, let's get into the actual wallet of choice that I am using. And it is by a brand called Garzini. You see it right there, Garzini, handcrafted, genuine leather. It's actually really nice build quality, I will be honest. And the coolest thing about this wallet is that it's magic, and it's my whole personality. I have these cute little handwritten notes from my girlfriend that I've had in there. If you guys watched the last video, it is still the same notes there. But just imagine that these notes are money, right? You take your wallet, throw it on the inside, and now they're on the inside, not just on the wallet. It's actually so cool. It makes no sense. I don't know how this thing was engineered, but you literally just throw the stuff on there, and it goes inside. It goes inside. So whenever I take this out at a party, you know, hey, I'm the coolest guy there. In all seriousness, no, this wallet's actually really nice. Of course, outside of the magic aspects, it does have lots of slots. You can see I got 3 slots for cards on this side, 3 slots for cards on this side. On the inside as well, you do have a slot here where I keep my ID and insurance stuff. And on this side, I have some Polaroid photos from, this is like a Polaroid photo from a road trip that me and my girlfriend took way back in the day as well. Just cute little memories, you know. Don't always have to put just cards in your wallet. Now, on that note, I do actually keep a debit card on me just in case. I don't think I've ever used this thing once. It's just been sitting in my wallet. I think I have one from Capital One somewhere too. I never use my debit cards. I use my credit cards as debit cards and get the money back. And moving along to the credit card that started my overall credit card journey, the Capital One Savor One. I love this card. It's not metal. It's nothing fancy, but it is a nice orange with the cool design. I'm sad that they did get rid of the cool design in their newer editions, which I do have the newer version of this one, but I'm just currently using the original one because it works just fine. Now, most of the cards in this video as well, I did full breakdowns on all the earnings that they can give you, but for now, I'm just gonna talk about what I use the card for. And what I do use this card for primarily is a lot of stuff. I have a few different credit cards in my wallet, which I'll get into in a sec, that do give me 3% back on dining. This is one of them if I'm wanting to get cash back for my Capital One side of things. Capital One Savor One gives me 3x back on that. I do use this as my dedicated grocery card as well as my streaming services card. The only streaming service that I'm paying for at the moment, because I have cut off most of my spending, is Spotify. But overall, this card has been amazing. I've gotten over $500 in cashback value just by holding this card without even getting a welcome offer on the card. And I've benefited a lot from having it in my wallet. And when I talk about the next card in my wallet, we'll see exactly how this overall system gets to come together really nicely. In terms of some other benefits that this card does give you though, you do get 5% back on travel booked through the Capital One travel portal, which you do get full access to everything Capital One travel outside of their transfer partners, which again, the next card I'm gonna talk about brings everything together nicely. Having this card give me so much value at no annual fee is very impressive, and I do strongly recommend this to pretty much anybody because there's no harm that can go from getting a Capital One Savor. And we're going in strong. We're not gonna wait any longer. We're gonna talk about the big bad boy right here, the Capital One Venture X. I absolutely am in love with this card. It is very metal. I just almost dented my desk actually by smacking it on the corner. But this card is incredible. It does everything. And by everything, I mean on everything, you do get 2x miles on every dollar you spend. Without getting too much into the absolute every single benefit that this card offers, because spoiler alert, there is a lot, I'll just talk about how I've benefited from the card. Of course, earning 2x miles on everything, this is my daily driver. For the most part, if there's no elevated category, whether it be for dining, gas, groceries, things like that, I'm pulling out this card to at least get 2x on something. The card does earn you those miles in the form of Capital One miles, which you can use to transfer out to their travel partners. As well, you can book travel in the Capital One travel portal. Coming in with an annual fee of $395, this card may seem on the surface as an expensive piece, which it technically is. You do get lots of value back just by holding the card and using natural spending. I still haven't used mine quite just yet, but I do get me a $300 annual travel credit just by holding the card, which does offset some of that annual fee. And then if and when I were to renew the Venture X for the following year, I'll get a 10,000 anniversary miles on top of that $300 travel credit, giving me $400 of value for a $395 annual fee. It's pretty nice. Being a premium travel card outside of all the purchase protections and everything, again, I'm not gonna get too much into the details. It does give you access to airport lounges, which I was able to get both into the Priority Pass lounge in my home airport in Charlotte, as well as the Capital One lounge in Dallas-Fort Worth, which if you guys did wanna see some inside information about it, I did post an airport vlog a couple videos back. Talked about my experience in the lounge. It was absolutely incredible. The people there, not as much. The staff and everything, of course, were really, really nice. They were actually, in my opinion, some of the nicest people I think I've ever met in my life. Just, I had an encounter with some crazy people, and the card didn't have any fault for that. This thing is amazing. Pairing it with, I'll get it out together, the Capital One Saver, or the Saver One formerly. This is your Capital One Duo. All of the cash back you get on the Saver, you can transfer into Capital One miles on the Venture X, or any Venture card for that matter. But getting your 3% back on dining, groceries, entertainment, and streaming services with this card now turns into 3x miles, which you can use through the Capital One travel portal and transfer out to Capital One's partners. The next big trip that I'm planning on taking, I'm going to be taking advantage of this setup very heavily. Getting into another absolute staple in my credit card setup, we have the Bilt MasterCard, which this card is also incredible. If you are renting, which I am, this is one of the only cards, if not the only card, I believe, that gives you points for rent without paying any fees. It earned me 1x points every time I pay rent, which is something that I absolutely have to pay every month. So by definition, it is the epitome of getting natural value from spending I'd be doing already. It is also quite premium, denting my desk again. One of the big things that this card does have that some people think is a big deal, I don't really think it's too much of a big deal, is that you do have to make 5 transactions on the card each billing cycle. Rent does count as one of them in order to get any points at all, which this card is also one of the few cards that does give me 3x back on dining. So typically what I'll do to get those 5 transactions is I will use this as a dining card for 4 transactions, pay for rent as my 5th one, and then I just set it and forget it, just get the natural value just like that. I have been cutting back on spending recently, so if I'm not going out to eat and making those dining purchases necessarily, I do grab a pack of gum or something. $1, get all the points from the rent, positive value regardless. The Bilt MasterCard, absolutely an amazing card if you are renting. Word on the streets is that very soon, I think actually they might have already confirmed it. I've been a little bit behind. There is a new portal for mortgages going forward, so you can actually save up a bunch of points and put it on a down payment on the house in the future. And that would be very incredible. But regardless, these points work very, very well in synergy with the next cards on my setup, and we'll talk about why in a sec. But to keep it brief, this card does give you points which you can transfer out to Bilt's transfer partners. One of them, which I have personally used in the past, is Hyatt Hotels. And Hyatt is notorious for giving a really good cent per point valuation on your points. Because we're typically at a baseline, I like a 1-to-1 ratio on my points versus the dollar amount that you'd be spending on them. Typically Hyatt, you can get upwards of even like 1.5 as a really good value on just a regular hotel stay. I have found myself using this side of my wallet a lot more than the other side of my wallet in recent times, partially because I was going for the spending welcome bonus on the Venture X. But it's not just that, and I'll get into that in a little bit as well. Moving along to the back side of my wallet, we'll get into how the Bilt card synergizes with this, because as you can see there, we got a bunch of Chase stuff. This is my Chase trifecta side of my wallet. It's really nice because all the logos line up just like that. Now, all of the Chase cards earn flexible points currencies in Chase Ultimate Rewards points. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the main thing that I value in all of my cards is that I have flexible options, whether it be wanting to use for cashback or for travel. And Chase definitely has that because their Ultimate Rewards points are the pinnacle of flexible points currencies. They can all be redeemed for cashback at a 1 cent per point ratio or used in the Chase travel portal, potentially at an elevated rate based on the cards that you have. For example, like the Sapphire line of cards. The first card that I have here from Chase is the Freedom Unlimited. Now Chase, these cards, I don't know if you can get them, but I have had this card. It's fairly new. I've had it for just over a year now. And it's still, the Freedom cards both have cards with elevated numbers. And whenever I'm wanting to show you guys, the numbers are on the front, so I have to cover it just like that. It's a little bit outdated, I'm gonna be honest, Chase, but you know what? The value you get from these cards is still really good, so it's fine, I guess. The Freedom Unlimited is typically considered a catch-all card that earns 1.5x Chase Ultimate Rewards points on everything that you spend it on, with a couple other elevated categories such as dining. And actually on that thing, all of my Chase cards earn 3x Ultimate Rewards points on dining. So in fact, when I say that most of my cards earn 3x on dining, all of them do except for the Venture X. And I have gotten so much value from my Freedom Flex in the past, but ever since I've gotten the Venture X, which gives me 2x miles on everything, the 1.5x by itself isn't quite that. And it's just a little bit less premium, like I said, with the older style numbers. It doesn't feel as good to bring out. It is still an absolute workhorse of a card, and I'll talk about one of the redemptions that I've gotten with all of my Chase cards as a whole, because that's really where these cards start to shine, because by itself, the Venture X slams this guy out the water. But when you combine it with one of the other cards here, it's a lot more competitive. The next card that I have on my list is also a Freedom card. It is the one and only Freedom Flex, coming back with the raised numbers on the front of the card. It's totally fine. And the main benefit in the draw to the Freedom Flex is that it is one of the cards that gives you rotating 5x quarterly categories, where typically the highest value back that I can get on any spending in my setup is only 3x back. Having those once a quarter 5x backs on whatever categories Chase decides to put out for this card is pretty nice. Again, just to maximize what I'd already be spending on anyways. And for Q2 of this year, Chase is giving you 5% back on both Amazon and select streaming services, which 5% back on Amazon is actually pretty nice because if I were to make an Amazon purchase, I actually don't have any way to get more than 2x back with my Venture X. So that's a really cool category there. But these categories can range from gas, from groceries, from dining, to things like Amazon or even like fitness centers, which they typically do. I think they did it last month at the beginning of the year. And the real cool thing is in the categories such as dining, where it already earns 3x back, it does stack with the 5x back that it would have in that quarterly category. So you're getting roughly like 7 to 8% back instead of just the 5x back, which is very significant. And you can earn a lot of points if you do have these cards in the right categories at the right time. But the last card from my Chase trifecta side of my wallet that does complete the setup is of course none other than the Sapphire Preferred, which this is an absolutely, I mean, it's a great card. In terms of spending, it doesn't give you much more in terms of the spending categories that you would naturally use compared to the Freedom cards in the lineup. But what it does give you is 2x back on travel. What it actually gives you is it gives you an elevated 25% boost on all of your Chase Ultimate Rewards points if you were to use them for travel in the Chase Travel Portal. And that's exactly what I did. Back in October of last year, I flew out to Denver, Colorado for a wedding. And what I was able to do, thanks to all of the points that I accrued on my Freedom cards over that time that I've had them, as well as the welcome bonus on the Sapphire Preferred when I originally got it, I had over 120,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points, and I was able to get the full experience, not just using the Chase Travel Portal with an elevated 25% boost on the points that I used there, but I also did transfer out some of the points because this card allows you to transfer out points to Chase's transfer partners. And again, back to the synergy with the Built MasterCard on the other side of my wallet, both Chase and Built allow you to transfer points out to Hyatt. And when redeeming my points, I was able to get with these points flight tickets from my home airport out to Colorado, back to my home airport for 3 different people, me, my girlfriend, and her younger sister. I was also able to use some of the remaining points to transfer out to Hyatt to stay at a Hyatt House hotel for 4 nights. And I was able to combine the rest of the points on my Chase cards with some built points as well, and I was able to get a really nice value there. And that's where like flexibility is so good with the Chase cards, where they're really, in my opinion, the easiest credit card system to get lots of value from, because you have the flexibility to get cash back, to transfer out points to transfer partners, or to use the points in Chase's travel portal. They all look really nice as well. The Sapphire Preferred aesthetically is, I mean, it's beautiful. It's a nice blue card, it's metal as well. But I have gotten lots of value from this side of the wallet, and I'm hoping to get a lot of value from this side of the wallet very soon. The only credit card that I do have that I actually don't carry in my main wallet every day is the Bank of America Custom Cash Rewards card. That technically was the first ever credit card that I got myself as a secured card, and then after a year of holding it, they upgraded me to the non-secured version. I just don't have any space for it in my wallet because these ones are giving me so much value, and I can't really find a way to get lots of value from that other than boosting my age of credit history. And in terms of adding different cards to the wallet in the future, I actually don't really have any plans to apply for any new cards. Unless there's some crazy welcome offer, I have cut back on most of my natural spending because I'm trying to save up $10,000 as fast as possible, thanks to a challenge that I've decided to do for myself to take back control of my finances. And just getting a credit card to go for some sort of welcome bonus doesn't really make sense for me right now, especially because I'm getting so much value from what's in here right now. If, say, I were to go for a card, I am still currently at 524 with Chase, so I kind of want to wait for that to drop off anyways. And if you guys do have any suggestions for credit cards that I could look into, just to spitball some things that have been on my mind, I have been looking into some sort of business card to organize like business transactions, as well as not count towards Chase 524. So that could be a cool option. Also like a hotel card or even like an airline card. I haven't looked too much into the options there. I do know that in my home airport, we are an American Airlines hub as well. There is a Delta Sky Club there too. I know those cards are pretty premium though. So again, probably not in my scope right now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. How is my setup? Which cards do you guys have in your setup right now? Do you have a favorite credit card or a favorite brand? Let me know. Share down below. And if you did like the video, leave a like so I know to keep making content just like this. Subscribe if you are new. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.